You know what makes people really uncomfortable? It's not someone who does nothing. It's not someone who works themselves to death either. It's the person who refuses to play by the rules everyone else follows. The one who wants success but won't sacrifice their peace for it. Society has a special kind of hatred for this type of person. And today we're going to talk about why that is, and more importantly, why you might need to become exactly that kind of person. We live in a world that worships busyness. If you're not stressed, overwhelmed, and constantly grinding, people think something's wrong with you. They look at you sideways. They question your commitment, your drive, your worth. But here's the thing. There's a different way to approach ambition, a way that doesn't require you to destroy yourself in the process, a way that looks lazy from the outside but is actually the most intelligent form of action you can take. And the reason society hates it so much, because it exposes the game everyone else is playing. Think about it. When you see someone who's calm, collected, moving through life without the drama and stress, what do you think? If you're honest, there's probably a part of you that gets annoyed. How dare they be so relaxed when you're struggling? How dare they want success without the suffering? That reaction tells you everything you need to know about how we've been programmed to think about ambition and achievement. We've been sold a lie. The lie that says real success requires constant struggle. That if you're not exhausted, you're not trying hard enough. That rest is laziness and ease is weakness. But what if that's backwards? What if the truly ambitious person is the one who refuses to waste energy on pointless activity? What if real power comes from knowing when not to act? The illusion of productive suffering. Let's talk about something nobody wants to admit. Most of what we call hard work is just performance. It's theater. People staying late at the office, not because they need to, but because they need to be seen staying late. People filling their schedules with meetings that could be emails. People wearing their exhaustion like a badge of honor. This is what I call productive suffering. It's the idea that the more you suffer, the more productive you must be. The more stressed you look, the more important you must be. It's complete nonsense, but it runs deep in our culture. You see this everywhere. The entrepreneur who brags about sleeping 4 hours a night. The student who pulls all-nighters not out of necessity, but out of some twisted sense that this is what dedication looks like. The parent who never takes a break because rest would mean they don't care enough. And here's where the lazy, ambitious person comes in and ruins everything. Because this person looks at all that suffering and asks a simple question. Why? What's the actual result of all this activity? Is it creating value? Or just creating the appearance of value? When you strip away the performance, when you remove the unnecessary struggle, you're left with something that makes people deeply uncomfortable. You're left with someone who achieves things without the drama, someone who gets results without the story of how hard it was, someone who succeeds while appearing to barely try. This is unbearable for people who have bought into the suffering narrative. Because if you can succeed without all that pain, what does that say about their pain? Was it necessary, or was it a choice? Was it required, or was it just what everyone else was doing? The lazy, ambitious person holds up a mirror, and most people don't like what they see reflected back. They see their own unnecessary struggle, their own wasted energy, their own choice to make things harder than they need to be. Society needs everyone to play the same game. When someone refuses, when someone finds a shortcut or a smarter path, it threatens the entire structure. It suggests that maybe the rules we're all following aren't actually rules at all. They're just habits, collective agreements that we could change if we wanted to. But changing them would require admitting that we've been doing things the hard way for no good reason. And that's a pill most people aren't ready to swallow. So instead, they hate the lazy, ambitious person. They call them entitled. They say they're not paying their dues. They insist that real success requires real suffering. Because if it doesn't, then what have they been suffering for? This is the first thing you need to understand. The hatred isn't really about you. It's about them. It's about their investment in a story that your existence contradicts. And once you see this clearly, their opinions start to matter a lot less. The power of strategic inaction. Now let's get into something even more controversial. The idea that not doing something can be more powerful than doing something. That waiting can be an action. That stillness can be a strategy. This goes against everything we're taught. We're taught that action is always better than inaction. That doing something, anything, is better than doing nothing. That speed matters more than direction. That motion equals progress. But think about nature for a second. A lion doesn't chase every animal it sees. It waits, it conserves energy, it picks the right moment. And when it acts with full force. The rest of the time, it looks lazy. It's lying in the shade. It's doing what appears to be nothing. But that nothing is something. It's preparation. It's conservation of resources. It's strategic positioning. The lion that chases everything catches nothing and exhausts itself in the process. The lion that waits, that appears lazy, that picks its moment. That lion eats. This is what the lazy, ambitious person understands that others don't. Energy is finite. Attention is finite. Time is finite. If you spend all of it on constant activity, you have none left when the moment that actually matters arrives. Most people are so busy being busy that they miss the opportunities right in front of them. They're so invested in looking productive that they forget to ask if their productivity is actually moving them toward anything meaningful. They're running on a treadmill, sweating and exhausted, convinced they're getting somewhere because of how tired they feel. The lazy, ambitious person steps off the treadmill. They look around, they ask where they actually want to go, and then they find the most efficient path to get there, which often means doing less, not more. It means saying no to most things so they can say yes to the right things. It means disappointing people who expect constant motion because they know that stillness has its own power. This is where the real ambition shows up, because it takes more courage to do nothing when everyone expects action than it does to just go along with the crowd. It takes more strength to trust your own judgment about when to move than it does to move just because everyone else is moving. Think about water. Water doesn't force its way through rock. It finds the path of least resistance. It goes around. It waits. It wears the rock down slowly, almost lazily, until eventually the rock gives way. The rock is hard, strong, actively resisting. The water is soft, patient, seemingly passive. But in the end, the water wins. This is the principle of strategic inaction. You don't fight every battle. You don't respond to every challenge. You don't chase every opportunity. You wait for the right conditions. You position yourself correctly, and then when the moment comes, you act with precision and power. But to the outside world, most of what you're doing looks like nothing. It looks lazy. It looks like you're not trying, because they can't see the strategy. They can't see the patience. They can't see the accumulation of energy that you're saving for when it actually counts. And this drives them crazy. Because in their world, effort is supposed to be visible, struggle is supposed to be obvious, progress is supposed to look like motion. Your stillness challenges all of that. Your ease suggests that maybe all their effort is misplaced. Your results without apparent work suggest that maybe work isn't the variable that matters most. So they call you lazy, and in a way they're right. But what they don't understand is that your laziness is a feature, not a bug. It's a choice, not a failure. It's a strategy, not a weakness. The anxiety of freedom. Here's something that doesn't get talked about enough. Most people don't actually want freedom. They say they do. They dream about it. They complain about their constraints. But when you offer them real freedom, when you show them a path that doesn't require traditional struggle, they panic. Because freedom is terrifying. When you're following the standard path, you always know what to do next. The steps are laid out. Go to school, get a job, work hard, climb the ladder, retire. It might not be fulfilling, but it's clear. It's what everyone else is doing. If it goes wrong, at least you're failing in a socially acceptable way. But the lazy, ambitious person rejects that path. They chart their own course. They make their own rules. They decide what success means for them instead of accepting society's definition. And this creates anxiety, not just in them, but in everyone watching. Because if they can do that, why can't you? If they can define success on their own terms, why are you still chasing someone else's definition? If they can achieve things without sacrificing their peace, why are you sacrificing yours? These questions are uncomfortable. They force people to confront choices they've made, paths they've chosen, years they've invested in a direction that maybe wasn't actually theirs. And that confrontation creates anger, creates judgment, creates the need to tear down the person who's making them question everything. This is why society hates the lazy, ambitious person. Not because they're actually lazy, but because they're free, and their freedom highlights everyone else's chains. Their ease highlights everyone else's unnecessary struggle. Their success without suffering highlights that maybe suffering isn't required after all. People will tell you that you're taking the easy way out, that you're cheating somehow, that real achievement requires real sacrifice, and they'll believe it. They have to believe it, because if they don't, they have to face the possibility that they've been sacrificing for nothing, that their struggle has been optional, that their stress has been a choice. That's too much for most people to handle. So instead, they protect their worldview by attacking yours. They defend their chains by criticizing your freedom. They justify their exhaustion by condemning your rest. And you know what? You have to let them, because you can't free someone who wants to stay in prison. You can't show someone a different path if they're invested in the path they're on. All you can do is walk your own path and deal with the fact that it makes other people uncomfortable. The anxiety of freedom isn't just something you feel, it's something you create in others, just by existing, just by showing that another way is possible, just by refusing to suffer the way you're supposed to suffer, just by being ambitious without apology and lazy without shame. This is your burden, not the work itself, which is probably easier than what everyone else is doing, but the social weight of being different, of being free, of making choices that don't align with what you're supposed to do. That weight is real and it's heavy and it never fully goes away. But here's the thing, that weight is still lighter than the alternative. It's still lighter than living a life designed by other people. It's still lighter than sacrificing your peace for approval. It's still lighter than spending decades on a path that was never yours to begin with. So you carry it. You accept that your existence makes people uncomfortable. You accept that your success will be dismissed. You accept that your ease will be criticized. And you keep moving forward anyway at your own pace, in your own way, toward goals that actually matter to you. The art of effortless effort. Let's talk about what this actually looks like in practice. Because lazy ambition isn't about doing nothing. It's about doing the right things with the minimum necessary effort. It's about finding the elegant solution instead of the exhausting one. It's about working with reality instead of against it. Think about a skilled martial artist. When they move, it looks effortless. There's no wasted motion, no unnecessary tension. Every action serves a purpose. Every movement flows into the next. To someone watching, it might even look easy, like they're barely trying. But that ease comes from deep understanding, from years of practice, from knowing exactly where to apply pressure and where to yield, from understanding the mechanics so thoroughly that they can work with them instead of fighting against them. The effort is still there. It's just invisible. It's been refined down to its essential core. This is what lazy ambition looks like. It's not about avoiding work. It's about being so good at what you do that the work looks easy. It's about understanding the system so well that you can navigate it with minimal resistance. It's about finding the path where your natural strengths align with what needs to be done. Most people approach ambition like they're pushing a boulder uphill, constant effort, constant strain. Every step is a battle, and they wear this battle like armor. They tell everyone how hard it is, how much they're sacrificing, how exhausted they are, because in their mind, that struggle proves their worth. But the lazy, ambitious person approaches it differently. They're looking for the downhill path, the direction where momentum works for them instead of against them, the place where their natural abilities meet opportunity, where doing what comes naturally creates value, where ease and effectiveness align. This doesn't mean everything is simple. It doesn't mean there are no challenges, but it means you're not creating artificial challenges. You're not making things harder than they need to be just to prove something. You're not confusing difficulty with importance. You're also not confusing motion with progress. This is huge. Most people are addicted to feeling busy. They need to feel like they're doing something, anything, all the time. Sitting still feels like falling behind. Rest feels like giving up. Space feels like emptiness that needs to be filled. But the lazy, ambitious person understands that space is necessary, that rest is productive, that sometimes the best action is no action, that thinking can be more valuable than doing, that one right move beats 100 wrong ones. They also understand timing, that pushing when conditions are wrong wastes energy, that waiting for the right moment multiplies effectiveness, that patience isn't passive, it's strategic, that stillness can be preparation for explosive action. This is the art of effortless effort, not no effort, not lazy in the traditional sense, but effort that's been refined, streamlined, made efficient, effort that looks easy because it's aligned with reality instead of fighting against it. And this art makes people angry, because they're over there grinding away, making everything harder than it needs to be, convinced that difficulty equals value. And here you are, making things look simple, getting results without the drama, succeeding without the story. They can't handle it. So they call it luck. They call it privilege. They call it cheating. They call it anything except what it is, which is intelligence, strategic thinking, understanding, skill, because admitting it's those things would mean admitting they could do it too if they changed their approach. And that's too threatening to consider. So let them be angry, let them grind, let them suffer unnecessarily. You keep finding the elegant solution. You keep making it look easy. You keep achieving more with less. Because that's not just ambition. That's wisdom. Living as the lazy ambitious. So where does this leave us? What do you actually do with all this? How do you live as someone who wants success but refuses to destroy themselves getting it? How do you navigate a world that hates what you represent? First, you accept that you're going to be misunderstood. Constantly, people are going to think you're not trying hard enough, that you're not serious enough, that you don't care enough. And explaining yourself rarely helps because the people who need the explanation aren't ready to hear it. So you stop explaining, you stop justifying, you stop trying to make people understand. You do what makes sense to you and you let the results speak, because eventually, results are all that matter. People can criticize your methods all they want, but if your methods work, if you're actually getting where you want to go, their criticism becomes irrelevant. It becomes noise, background chatter from people who are lost in their own maze trying to tell you you're doing your path wrong. Second, you get comfortable with judgment. People are going to judge you. That's guaranteed. They're going to say you're lazy, entitled, unrealistic, naive, foolish, or any number of other things. And you're going to have moments where you wonder if they're right, where you doubt yourself, where you think maybe you should just do it the normal way. In those moments, you remember why you chose this path. You remember that normal doesn't mean right. You remember that just because everyone else is doing something doesn't make it the best way. You remember that you'd rather be criticized for being yourself than applauded for being someone else. Third, you protect your energy like it's sacred. Because it is. Energy is your most valuable resource. Not money, not time. Energy. The capacity to think clearly, act decisively, and stay aligned with what matters. Most people leak energy constantly. They spend it on drama, worry, pointless arguments, tasks that don't matter, people who drain them, and activities that serve no real purpose. You don't have that luxury, not because you're weak, but because you're strategic. You know that every bit of energy you waste on nonsense is energy you don't have for what actually matters. So you guard it. You're selective about where it goes. You say no to most things so you can fully say yes to the few things that count. Fourth, you redefine success. Society's definition is broken. It's based on external markers that mostly just measure how well you've conformed, how much you've accumulated, how impressive you look from the outside, none of which has anything to do with whether you're actually happy, fulfilled, or living a life that means something to you. So you throw out that definition and create your own. What does success actually mean to you? Not what should it mean, not what does it mean to your parents, your friends, your culture. What does it mean to you when you're at the end of your life, looking back? What will make you feel like it was well lived? That's your North Star. That's what you're actually aiming for. Everything else is just distraction. Fifth, you embrace the paradox. You're lazy and ambitious, relaxed and driven, easygoing and determined. These aren't contradictions, they're complements. The ambition gives you direction. The laziness gives you sustainability. The drive gets you moving. The ease keeps you sane. You don't have to choose one or the other. You integrate both. You become someone who achieves things while remaining at peace, who gets results while staying grounded, who succeeds without losing themselves in the process. This is rare. Most people are either ambitious to the point of self-destruction, or so laid back they never accomplish anything. You're building something different. A third option that most people don't even know exists, and it's uncomfortable. It's unfamiliar. It doesn't fit neatly into categories, but it works, and it's sustainable, and it's yours. Here's the truth that nobody wants to say out loud. Society doesn't actually want you to succeed on your own terms. It wants you to succeed on its terms, to play by the rules, to struggle in the approved ways, to suffer appropriately, to earn your place through recognized sacrifice. When you refuse that game, when you chart your own path, when you achieve things while appearing lazy, you expose the game for what it is: optional, arbitrary, not the only way, and that makes people uncomfortable. It makes them angry. It makes them want to pull you back down into the conventional struggle, so they don't have to question their own choices. Let them be uncomfortable. Let them be angry. You're not here to make them feel better about their decisions. You're here to live your life in a way that actually makes sense, in a way that honors both your ambitions and your humanity, in a way that proves you can have success without sacrifice, achievement without exhaustion, ambition without anxiety. The lazy, ambitious person isn't lazy at all. They're just efficient, strategic, intelligent about where they put their energy. They understand that real power comes not from constant motion, but from right action at the right time. They know that appearing to do nothing while everything falls into place is a skill, not a flaw. So be that person. Be lazy in your refusal to waste energy on what doesn't matter. Be ambitious in your commitment to what does, and let society hate it, because that hatred just means you're doing something right, something different, something that threatens a system built on unnecessary suffering. And maybe, just maybe, someone watching will see what you're doing and realize they have permission to do it too. That's how change happens. Not through convincing everyone, but through showing what's possible. Through living proof that another way exists. Through being so undeniably successful in your lazy ambition that the criticism starts to sound hollow even to the critics. Subscribe if this resonated with you.